Hi, and today's topic we want to talk about convincing others. You have your family, your friends, your inner circle, your colleagues at work or in business, um, and just people that you meet, socially, etc. And often, what all of us do, and I used to be like that a lot, I would try to convince others of my point of view, my perspective is the right perspective. But when you're working in consciousness, and as you ascend consciousness levels, it's all about perspectives. And you start actually, once you start ascending, in consciousness, one of the big things that come around is, well, I mean, in addition to just realizing that you're safe and you're loved, and kind of like the base level at Maslow's hierarchy, you are actually safe, you are actually secure, you are actually loved, you are actually all of that. Once you have that inward realization, and when you start doing more ascension work, you start, the big one of the big things is that you're not alone. You are not alone. You're not separate from your higher self. You're not separate from your higher being. There is no separation, and that's one of the goals. That's one of the goals in Zen Buddhism, in lots of modalities. But there's something in Zen Buddhism, now that we're mentioning it specifically, called Satori. So a Satori is really like sudden enlightenment. It's a raising of consciousness and a sudden awareness. What you and I would call aha moments. Where this is true. This is true. You're receiving that truth. You know, and in that moment, you don't question it, and you don't second guess it. You just, and it's so compelling and it's so amazing that there isn't even any room for the ego to say anything about it. It's there's no room for anything else. That sudden enlightenment. And there's also what I would like to call mini Satoris. So you have all these moments that take you along, that move you up, so to speak. And in those mini ones, when you get them, don't don't convince others, don't try to convert others, don't try to force your perspective on others. Their perspective is their perspective, and if it doesn't agree with your perspective, that is okay. So I was just, it's a light moment, but I was invited, one of the many lovely invites I get, because I've opened myself up to abundance, to just receive, and just to receive from people, what they want to give me. And I want to just give and receive in a flowing way. I'll do another bit about that in a balanced way, because people often want to receive, and they don't give back. So I've opened myself to that level of abundance, because as you ascend, your level of abundance changes, and your vision actually changes as well. The things that you thought you wanted, that also changes. So I received this wonderful invite to go and see the story of Buddha, in a theater play. And we went, and this wonderful friends of mine, they were trying to convince me, because I'm not a big fan of musicals. I know, shoot me now, okay? My son and I, we're not crazy about musicals. But I went because of the storyline of the story of Buddha, basically, Siddhartha, you know, and and the Buddha's journey to how he became the Buddha. And I loved the play, actually, and we were talking afterwards at dinner, and I was just telling them, no, actually, I'm not a big fan of musicals. And they were like, oh my gosh, they were horrified, because they are musical people, and musical watchers. And and the one gentleman was really trying to convince me. He was going on and on and on, and he wouldn't stop, in a wonderful way. But he was just saying, look, you're getting all of this, and you get blah. He was giving all the different reasons for it. And I was looking at him and smiling, because I wasn't offended in any way. I was enjoying it. But I just looked at all the force he was applying, which was unnecessary, because I was not going to change my mind about that, because it's just not something I really, enjoy, unless it's opera or something. But but yeah, just, we often do that, and we get an awakening, we get a realization, and we telling people about it, and they've got to like see, what we've experienced. Like, this is what I've experienced, and you want to share it with people, and this is what you too need to, but you can't. Stop. That is force. That is force. You don't want force. You want flow. You want flow. Flow is easy. It doesn't force its perspective on anyone. Without the Satori, without the mini Satori or the big enlightenment, or without any aha moments, just in life in general, get into the habit of not forcing your perspective on others. Not forcing, like I had a family member say to me the other day, and they were speaking to another family member, and they were quite irritated, in the extended family, and they were quite irritated that the other person, they'd given them excellent advice on their life situation and they were not taking that advice. So they were like, well, I don't know why I bother. I don't know why I bother investing in the advice. I'm just going to divorce myself from the situation because this person never listens. This other family member of ours never listens to the good advice I give them. So I just looked at them with love, because, with compassion, and it was just so clear to me. It was so clear to me because I just said to them, look, don't confuse you giving advice to someone with them taking it. Don't confuse the two. Firstly, only give advice if they've asked for it, if they've specifically asked you for it. Even if you may have 100 great ideas about what they should be doing with their life. But try that. Try not to give advice to people unless they specifically ask it. I mean, the greatest teacher in my life is my son, and he's he's known to keep quiet in the worst of situations. He'll just keep quiet. So when the little that he does say eventually has such a profound impact on people, they're all like, oh no, my son suggested XYZ. So I always learn from him, because I think it's such an amazing trait, and I wish I had that when I was born like him, but I had to work on it, and to the point where now I do it more and more. I just keep it to myself, and people start noticing that you've changed. They've noticed. Don't be embarrassed about who you were before in your past life and what people thought of you. When you do consciousness work, you don't bother anymore about what your reputation is. One of the first things that goes. You're not invested in your reputation anymore, in what people think of you. So try that. Let people come to you and ask you, and offer advice where it's needed, and don't share your aha moment. It's not meant for others, it's meant for you. People will see it. You will share it with people that are like-minded. You'll find those people. But people that don't share that perspective, leave them to their own journey. They will hear you in their quiet moments. Because I also had this conversation with another person, a client actually, and they were saying, they were talking about how they feel attacked by family. Feel attacked by their parent, and the parent never appreciates them, and they're doing so much, and the parent still doesn't appreciate them. So we had this conversation a week ago, and I left it, because they were too angry to hear me, so I didn't say anything in that session. But the next session we had the following week, I said to them, hang on a second, feeling attacked is a choice. They were quiet enough to hear me, and I just offered that one sentence: feeling attacked is a choice. You don't have to feel. Your mother's narrative does not have to be yours. And just that one sentence, they just really got still, and it spoke to them. So that's flow. You don't have to force it then and there. Somebody can hear you at another time, and when you can see someone struggling in your life, when they being difficult and ornery and hard to deal with, when you can see someone struggling, that's the time. Instead of you choosing to feel attacked, choose to give kindness and compassion, because you can see they're obviously struggling. So it's logical spiritually to just give them kindness and compassion in that moment. when you do ascension work, you don't need others to agree with you in order to feel whole and complete. Their opinion of you does not count any longer in a loving way. It's not that you're disregarding them or whatever, but you don't need to rely on the opinion of others about who you are and what you are. Good or bad opinion. Even the good opinion. It's great to hear it, it's complimentary, it feels nice. Like if someone says, hey, you're looking nice, I like that, it's nice to hear it, but I don't really need it to feel valued. That's kind of the territory we're in here, okay, when you do this kind of work. Okay, cheers, take care, bye.